Hello, healers and health seekers. It's me, Choda, healing on the medical medium protocols for about 2 years now, 2 years and 1 month. And today I'm doing a question and answer video. The question is, why is it important to have compassion for myself, for others? Why is self-compassion important? I feel like this is really important to talk about because I seem to be seeing it showing up around a lot, and I have seen it show up for me a lot in my own healing journey. I see that what happens is as we become more and more chronically ill, we need more and more compassion, and the people around us are not necessarily capable of filling that need for us. It's not their fault, it's just kind of how things end up. Anthony William, the medical medium, he did a show on compassion that I will link to below, and I highly recommend that you listen to it. I listened to it for a month solid after he posted it. Every single day for 30 days I listened to it, and I still listen to it occasionally because I think it's one of the most important radio shows that he's done, is talking about that compassion, because that compassion, we can lose our self-esteem, we can lose hope, we can lose love for ourselves, we can lose so much when that compassion isn't there. And we need that compassion. We need it for our healing, we need it. But the problem is we expect to get it from the people around us. We expect other people to have compassion, and they lose the capacity to keep that compassion going. It's very rare to have, if you have somebody in your life that is showing you compassion, thank them and just thank your lucky stars, because I'm telling you, so many of us don't, and so many of us, or we had people and they were able to show us compassion for a while, but as we continued to be chronically ill, they lost that compassion for us. They lost that love, because it's hard to have compassion. And when that happens to you, I know it's horrible and it sucks, and I wish I could say some uplifting thing that would make you feel better about it, but it's unfortunately, it seems to be part of the journey for so many of us. And when other people lose compassion for us, it's hard for us to have compassion for them, and it's also hard for us to have compassion for ourselves. But we have to. We have to. Because what I'm finding in this journey, and it took me years to really understand this and feel this and see this and experience it in a way that it finally became okay for me, or that I could start to heal around it. What I'm finding is that I have to be my own compassion. Other people cannot fill that need for us a lot of the times, and it's not that they don't want to, it's maybe that they don't know how to. It's not a skill we grow up learning to have in a lot of ways. I don't know how to explain that. We should. It should be something that we really focus on in schools or in our upbringing and things like that, but it's just not the way our world is geared and wired, and that sucks. But I got my cucumber juice. I'm drinking my cucumber juice every day. You know what's great about cucumber juice is the more I drink it, the more I like it. Wild, huh? Still my cucumber juice from my farmer. Something that I think is even a part of the healing journey. At least it is for me and everybody around me right now. And maybe the people who see this video, it only applies to the people who see this video. I don't know. I don't know if this is true for the world, if this is true for everybody's healing journey. This is my experience and my opinion, and what I think is that it is so crucially important for us to build up that compassion reserve for ourselves and to show ourselves compassion. A lot of times I think that showing ourselves compassion is learning how to have boundaries. I think that's been really important for me, is to be able to, A, learned that self-care is a priority. I'm a mom. Moms do not have a history of making self-care a priority. We don't. Women do not have a history of making self-care a priority. We are not taught that we are important. We are not raised to believe, and I hope that that's changing. I hope that this is changing with the new generations, but I was not raised to believe that I was important or that my needs were important, and I think that is true of so many women. I think we have been conditioned and raised to believe that our needs take a back seat. They are the last thing that holds any importance. And so even just the act of self-care is compassion, is showing yourself compassion and saying, like, my needs matter. Right now I need to rest, or I need to take this detox bath, or I need to take some time to myself, or I need to meditate, or I need to have this cucumber juice, or I need to drink the smoothie, or whatever it is that you are doing for yourself that is self-care. Even that, it's like a radical act of self-compassion. Being like, my needs matter, and it's okay for me to take the time to fill them. And nobody is going to do that for us. We have to do it ourselves. I think one of the things that Muniza Ahmed in her cleanses, in case you don't know who Muniza is, she is a practitioner who uses medical medium protocols. She has worked extensively with Anthony William, and she, in addition to doing consults, like, she's super booked, so she started doing cleanses to try to help teach us how to empower ourselves in the protocols. And I think one of the things that is so important about self-empowerment is realizing that you're the one that's going to fill that need. No one's going to do it for you. It's amazing. If someone has a partner that's like, oh, you need to go take some time and do stuff for yourself and blah, 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 and like pushes you to do that, that's fantastic. But that, I don't think that's how it is for most of us. Most of us are used to being the ones who, we run the household, we run the family, we take care of everybody's needs, we take care of our kids, and that's okay. Like, all of that is really good, but we also have to learn to really take care of ourselves and show ourselves that compassion and show ourselves that love, and with compassion, because like Anthony said, like, love can turn into hate. You can hate yourself in an instant if all you have is love. You have to have that compassion. You have to show yourself that you matter, even though you've been raised differently, even though you've been raised and conditioned to believe that you don't, and even though you've been raised and conditioned to think, I come later, I come last, and whatever. It is so important to show yourself that you matter and take time to do the things that you need to take care of yourself. It is crucially important for your healing process that you step back and learn to take a beat and do what you need for you. And you will be amazed, as I was, that the world does not fall apart when you're not there for 20 minutes or 5 minutes or 2 minutes. If you have a toddler, maybe all you can get is 2 minutes. But you gotta do it. You gotta take your 2 minutes and just breathe and do what you need to do for you. Or make your smoothie or whatever. Like, whatever it is, whatever tiny act of compassion, just try to do it with, like, I don't know, just try to be aware that this is for me. This is because I need this, and I am doing something for myself. That's important. The other piece about that is that, again, we get so disappointed, we get so much trust broken, we feel betrayed, there's all these emotions about that with chronic illness. People leave our lives, that's the truth. The truth of chronic illness is you're sick and people leave. They take off. They get, I don't know, I've heard it called compassion fatigue. Like, people get tired of worrying about you and thinking about you, and they go on with their own lives, and it's horrible and it sucks, but that's just the truth. It happens. And a lot of people who are chronically ill are on their own, like just on their own. There's not really support. There's not really anyone taking care of them. They might even be the financial, like the breadwinner in the family and the only, or just for themselves or whatever. But even that, unfortunately, we can't expect other people to meet our needs for compassion. Yeah, they should. It would be great. It would be great if people would really just support each other and step up and be there for each other. But they aren't always. They aren't always. And we have to find it in ourselves to be that for ourselves. To be the parents that our parents can't be for us. You know how, I mean, sometimes to heal your relationships in life and you know, your hurt from your family of origin, you have to be your own parent and parent yourself and give that inner child that self-love. Like, you know, the 4-year-old you have to be the one to turn around and say, I'm here for you. I love you. I'll take care of you. And you nurture that and be your own parent. And that happens sometimes. And in chronic illness, I think that happens. We have to be our own compassion. We have to be our own self-love. We have to be our own support system. Now, fortunately, there is social media, and in this instance, it can be used for good. You can reach out to people in the medical medium community if you don't have support, and you will at least have that energetic support. You will at least have somebody who is buddying up with you and saying, I'm here for you, and you can talk to them about what's going on. But even beyond that, like, we have to fill that need for ourselves, and we have to help ourselves have that compassion. And part of that is forgiveness of ourselves, forgiveness of the people who have hurt us, forgiveness of the people who have betrayed us and abandoned us, and realizing that they did their best and they just didn't maybe know what else to do or how to do it. If they were raised without compassion, or they had never had it shown to them, and maybe they lacked it and they couldn't give something they didn't have. And I mean, I don't know other people's stories. I just know what's important for us when we're healing is to have that compassion for ourselves and to show ourselves love and to take care of ourselves and realize that we are healing, and it is a journey, and it takes time, and not everybody around us is going to understand that, because we come from a society that wants that like quick fix right now. And if they don't see your healing looking like XYZ or however they expect it, or why aren't you, you know, taking the pills and whatever, if you're doing something different than what they expect or what they're familiar with, it's going to feel probably threatening to them. They don't understand it and they'll think you're crazy. That happens a lot. You know, that happens. And it hurts. It hurts a lot. It hurts so much because you feel like, I'm finally finding something that's working for me, but you don't trust me. You don't believe in me. And because it takes time for us to heal and they don't see the results they want to see right away, they don't believe it. And all I can say to that is that there's a whole community of people who do know that it works and that do know that it's true, and they will believe you. And I know this is the really hard part, but we have to have compassion for them too. The people who don't believe us. We have to understand that they are doing their best and they're afraid and they want to see us heal, and they're watching us be sick and they're watching us keep being sick, and they are afraid and they want to use something that's familiar to them to help us heal. And sometimes they will get aggressive about it and pressure us and try to force it on us and make threats and do other things. I've seen all of these things happen, and I guess every individual case is different, so I don't have specific advice as to how to handle that, except that to try to maybe just try to have some compassion and understanding for where they might be coming from, and think of them as having your best interest at heart, like they love you and they just want to try to help you and do what's familiar to them to help you because they think that works. Everybody wants to do what they believe works, right? And I have found in my experience and in this journey that people who do not have chronic illness do not understand how we could turn to, they don't understand how betrayed we've been by the medical system. And they don't understand how many things we've tried. Even if sometimes, even when they're family members and have watched you try everything, sometimes they still don't understand that you've tried everything. Sometimes they don't understand how much damage that has done to us and how they just don't understand the lengths we've gone to. And so they don't get how we could turn to this other thing that they've never heard of that doesn't make any sense to them and trust that. And I know that's super hard to remember because we're just struggling just to survive from day to day, and we're struggling to stay alive. And if we're implementing the protocols, like this is a focus for us and we're just trying to heal and we don't need extra stress and pressure. And I know, and I wish there was some way that there, like some magic way to get people to like back off and trust us and give us a little bit of a berth when we're trying something new. But there's not, because people live in their fear. They just live in their fear and they live in their panic and they can't help themselves. Like, I know for me, I'm a helper. Like, I always want to help. And I have even been advised in the past that like my helping can become over helpfulness, particularly with people I might be, I don't know, married to. And it can come off as criticism and not help. And it can come off as like, sometimes like I was told sometimes you got to step back and just let people figure it out for themselves and make their own way. And I keep that in mind because I want to help. I want to help, and I want to make things easier for people, and I want to help, I want to help, I want to help. And I think a lot of people have that. When you care about somebody, you want to help them. You don't want to see them hurt. You don't want to see them hurt again and again. And when you're watching a family member go through chronic illness and you have one way that you think is a system that works, and you see them and you're like, why don't you just do this thing? They don't necessarily really realize how much you have already done that thing. And no amount of you telling them is going to get through, usually, I find. And that's where we have to have compassion for them, just like we have compassion for ourselves. And I know that's hard. I know that it is. I'm not saying like, oh, it's easy, just go have compassion, because it's freaking hard. And I get it, because you're like, I'm hurting here and I need your help and I need your compassion. And so finding it in yourself to give that to somebody when you're not getting it from anywhere. But we have to like bring it up in ourselves and show it to ourselves. And I know for me that's been even like part of my healing, is being able to have compassion for myself when nobody else would. And I've fought for it sometimes. I have had instances where somebody thought that me taking time for myself and doing things for myself was a selfish act, and they called me selfish. And I was like, this is not selfish. It's not selfish. I'm healing. This is helping me heal. When I do this thing, like, you think I'm taking all this like leisure time or whatever, and I'm not. What I'm doing is I'm taking detox baths, and I'm doing these smoothies, and I'm making my food because these things are healing me. It's not selfish. It's just something you're not used to. You're not used to me taking time for myself. You're not used to me doing things for myself. And you think that all of my time should be dedicated to only just meeting other people's needs. And so a lot of times that shakes people up, because like suddenly you're not just 100% dedicated to meeting their needs. Suddenly you're meeting your own needs. And in our whole society, we've been raised to think that that's a selfish act. It is not a selfish act. If you if you aren't meeting your needs, how are you going to meet the needs of other people? They always say on the plane, put your oxygen mask on first before you put it on your kid. So you're not going to be able to help your kid if you're dead, right? But you have to take care of yourself so you can take care of other people. You have to. You have to. Because otherwise you're just going to be over depleted, you know? So I think as we heal, at least for myself, I'm noticing that my ability to set boundaries and be consistent with myself and say, no, my needs are important, and it's okay for me to meet my own needs as well. You know, it's not like I'm shirking my responsibilities and running off to Hawaii and abandoning my family or something like that. I'm taking a detox bath, for Christ's sakes. It's not a selfish act. You know what I mean? It's like, it's okay. And people, it takes time, but they adjust, you know, they adjust. But I think it takes consistently setting those boundaries and realizing that you do matter and your needs matter and they are important, because that's self-compassion. And sometimes if people are in your life and they consistently criticize and demean you and make you feel bad about you taking time for yourself, maybe those people don't need to be in your life, and that's the greatest act of self-compassion you can have, is setting that boundary. I don't know. I don't know your life. I can't say. It's a case-by-case thing. Only you know. But it is important to take care of you. And it is important to have that compassion for yourself and to know that you matter. That you matter. And it's okay to take time. And it's okay that it takes time to heal, because that's how real healing works. It does take time. You can't force it. You can't make it go faster because you want it to. Yeah, I'd love it if I could I would love it if I would not, if somehow as I'm healing, my detox would come out in a way that, like, I didn't have to show it all over my face whenever I'm just having extra detox. That's not how my body works, and that's okay. It really is okay, because I am healing and I am detoxing. And sure, I love it if, you know, I could suddenly be like fit and able to move all the time and have super energy all day, every day, consistently. That is not how my healing works, and my body is taking time, and it's losing weight at a very slow rate and at a pace that's going to work for my body and not be too much, and not overstress my adrenal glands and not overstress my liver and my lymphatic system. And that doesn't mean I'm not healing. It means I'm healing at a pace that works for my body, because my body has wisdom that I might not be privy to consciously, but it knows what it's doing and it knows how to do it. And I just have to support it and do the best I can for it and do the things I know will help it. And as I learn more, I do more. And as I can, you know, some days I have days that I just can't do things. Like, I mean, yesterday I had a migraine. And so I said, okay, I got to take care of this. So I took a day off from everything. And I had a migraine. And I rested. And I supported myself with juices and smoothies and the foods I needed to. And I did what I needed to do to take that migraine down and to be okay again. That's what you got to do. And I didn't feel bad about it. I just said, okay, this day doesn't exist. It's like recovery from migraine. That's what it's going to be. And that's what it was. And it's part of the process. It's just part of the healing. You go with what's happening and do what your body needs you to do for it. So I really just wanted to say that. I really just wanted to talk about, like, how important it is to realize that your needs matter and that you are important, and to have compassion for yourself, and don't panic. We go through symptoms, and man, sometimes there's flares and sometimes it's hard, but to try to force healing by doing detox faster, I mean, all that's going to do is stress out your lymphatic system, stress out your liver, stress out your adrenals, and take your healing down a notch and make everything slower. So please, 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 remember, you are healing. Please don't panic. You are healing. You know, if you're doing the protocols, please don't panic. Try to just breathe and let things be what they are. And remember, you can't force it. This is not a race. It's a journey. Okay? And you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. And you're gonna be so much better for it. And I really think that part of the journey is learning to trust ourselves and our inner wisdom and our bodies and our intuition. And I think also having that compassion. I think all of that is part of the growth and part of the healing and part of the journey. Because we have to open our hearts to ourselves before we can open them to other people. And that's super important. It's just super important. So my question to you is how do you show yourself compassion? And have you found during this healing journey, if you are further into the journey, have you found compassion opening up for you? And have you found yourself finding more self-compassion in ways that you never expected? I'd like to hear about that. And if you're having a hard time finding compassion for yourself, leave a comment, reach out. How can I support you? You know, what can I do? What can I say? How can I help? Because it's super important. Oh yeah, I will say this. If you are having a hard time finding compassion for yourself, do yourself a favor and listen to the Medical Medium show on compassion, the radio show on compassion. Because it really, every time I listen to it, I hear something different that is like one little nugget that that one sticks with me that day. And it's really important. Casey McCluskey on Instagram, she also has some amazing posts on compassion. Really thoughtful, really beautiful. And I highly recommend following her. I will also link to her Instagram down below because she has some amazing stuff on compassion. I hope I said something that helped in some way. I hope I said something useful. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up down below. If you want to subscribe to my channel, you can hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when I post new videos, please ding that bell. I will say thank you for watching. I love you so much. Be gentle with yourself. Stay curious. Blessings for your continued healing. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.